There seems to be two types of seasons for most wedding photographers: feast '21. 2021 is shaping up to be a pretty intense year, and burnout is real. We might want to consider putting a cap on our 2021 bookings, or should we? Sara Monika is a documentary wedding photographer for free-spirited and adventurous couples. Sarah is drawn to the in-between moments of a wedding day, the beauty in the unexpected. In her talk, Sarah is going to teach us what we can be doing right now to set ourselves up for the future, how we can build a strong and sustainable foundation, not just for business, but for our lives, so we can avoid burnout and get all the things we want, more bookings, more money, and more freedom. Sarah's talk is entitled Why You Don't Have to Cap Your Wedding Bookings in 2021. Sara, I miss you so much. The virtual floor is now yours.
Yay, thank you so much, Bryce. Oh my gosh, that was the best intro. Okay, let me get on here to sharing my screen. Share screen and presentation coming. I'm so excited to have you guys all here. My hands are freaking sweating, but it's all good. Excitement and nervousness all come hand in hand. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this little box down here so nothing is hidden. All right, and it's just loading. We're just going to wait 1 second because, technology. And I'm just going to set my timer here because I want to make sure I'm on time. Okay, it's still loading. Sorry, guys. Let me see here. Oh, there we go. Okay, got it. Okay, guys, welcome. I'm so excited to dive in. I'm going to go straight in because we have 20 minutes and I want to make sure you guys get a ton of value out of this. Okay, so first off, welcome. By the way, Bryce, I can hear you guys. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but it's all good either way. So hey guys, I'm Sara Monika, but you can just call me Sara. As Bryce mentioned, I'm a wedding photographer for free-spirited and sentimental couples. And just to give you like 5 seconds of background, this is my fiance Rory and my beautiful little dog Abaru. Sometimes we even call her Fuckaroo. I don't know how we thought of that nickname, but that's my little fam jam. I've been a wedding photographer for 9 years now, and I've also been teaching for about 5 now. So I'm going to get right into it, being vulnerable, sharing my story with you, because storytelling, I believe, is the best way we can learn from one another. So at some point in my journey, I lost myself. I was working 80-hour weeks for my clients' happiness, and I totally forgot about my own. I lost relationships, my health was at the worst it's ever been, and I realized that I wasn't really living the freedom life I set out to live with having my own business. And I know you guys totally get what I mean when I talk about that, right? So my business was running me, and I was done. So I dove into learning a ton on business and personal development to set out on a mission to solve this burnout problem for myself. And it led me to where I am today. And that's the feeling of finally having it all. Leading a life that is full of abundance in all areas such as relationships, spirituality, health, inner and outer strength, wealth, emotional well-being, and reigniting that playful child inside of me that I have missed for all these years. And I just want to quickly mention, of course, I'm not perfect. It's not like I reached the top of the mountain and I'm done working on it forever. We all have ups and downs, right? So it's not like this is all perfect for me, but it's the happiest I've ever been and the most balance I've ever felt in my life. So I realized that a lot of photographers felt stuck with no idea how to get off that damn hamster wheel too. So now I help empower wedding photographers to put their life and happiness first, once and for all, by teaching them how to work less and make more money. And if you're like, how the F are you able to work less and make more money? It's actually possible, and I can't wait to show you. So let me ask you this. Are you feeling nervous about hitting burnout in 2021 with more double headers and possibly even triple headers coming your way? If so, I totally got your back. So right now, I'll be walking you through what you can get started on right away, yes, even amidst a pandemic, so that you can start to build a strong and sustainable foundation, not only in your business, but in your life, so that burnout can actually just stay a thing of the past. So I'm excited to dive in and show you that you can have it all. And by have it all, I mean bookings, money, and all the freedom you desire. So PS, what I'll be teaching you today is about thinking about the long-term gains. Okay, so this is something that I want you to start thinking about to prep for the future, right? So some of the things you can't implement now, but it's all, I'm going to show you what's possible for your future. So one thing I want to mention is come back to me if you're distracted, if you're on your phone, just come back to me because our attention can't be split. We can't be fully focused if we're multitasking. Okay, first off, I want to address this. We're all going through a different experience right now, a different storm. And for some of us, it's sprinkling light rain. And for others, there's a full-on hurricane. And no, I'm not a rapper. It just came out naturally like that. But either way, wherever you are, I just want you to let go of that guilt. Whether you're feeling down or feeling great or optimistic, I see you, I hear you, I understand you, I'm not judging you, and I send you love. And that makes me emotional right away with everything that's going on, because I think we all need a little more love right now. So the one thing I want to remind you is that wherever you are right now is exactly where you're meant to be. And even if you can't see why just yet, I mean, I know we've all been through situations in life where something terrible happens to us, but then 5 years down the road, we really understand why it happened to us. So I just want you to know that it's all going to be okay in the end. Okay. So something I want you to understand is that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So instead of asking the question automatically in your head, like, why is this happening to me? Like full of frustration, know that our minds, our subconscious minds are programmed to answer automatically whatever questions we ask ourselves. So if you ask that question, you're going to get these answers like, oh, because of the stupid virus, because people are not abiding by the social distancing rules, or blaming outside circumstances. But look at this question. What if you were to ask yourself, what does this make possible? So now your subconscious mind will automatically answer, I can create a new plan so I never find myself in this situation again, like maybe financially, right? Or I can think of new ways to bring in income. I can redefine what I value most in life. Can you see the difference? And I want you to practice this even later today. See the difference in your physiology when you ask a different question of how much possibility you can see that is possible for you. So this time right now is a gift, guys. It's a gift to create new habits, new goals of how we want our careers and lives to really look like. It's like a little pause that we've been given. So don't let it go to waste. And the more often you take care of yourself first, number one, your health, your mental well-being, all of that, the more confident you'll feel at solving problems that come with change. And remember, change is the only constant in life. So the more you equip yourself with knowing how to deal with this change emotionally, spiritually, however, the better you will be able to work to get through certain changes in life. And so it's how you show up that matters, not your circumstances. And the best way to show up right now is begin with the end in mind. So if what you really want next year is to bring in the income you're used to or more, while also not ending up in burnout central, then all you got to do is declare what you want and then reverse engineer it to make it happen. So let me paint you this picture because I know this is what we're all thinking right now. So let's say this happens. You have 25 weddings booked this year in 2020, and all of them end up moving to 2021. This would be the worst case scenario, right? Okay. So you become more and more worried about losing your 2020 and your 2021 income. But guess what? There are a total of 156 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday dates in a whole year. So that means that you'd have 131 dates left wide open to book. So couples that want to get married next year will have to be more flexible choosing Friday or Sunday dates, since most Saturdays could be booked from the couples that rebooked or previous bookings. So that means, yay, guys, more possible bookings for us all. So with this additional time on your hands now, you can get creative with how you show up and market yourself and book an additional 20 weddings for next year. And yes, you will end up with 45 weddings, which is a lot, but stay tuned. I'll show you how you can make that happen. So this means that you're able to make an income this year from retainers, right, for your 2021 weddings. And little tip here, make sure they're at least 50% of the total amount, which will actually help get you through 2020. And there's nothing wrong with changing how much you need for retainers right now. By the way, your operating costs of your business will be much lower in this year than usual, since you mainly only have fixed costs and not variable costs. So fixed costs are like things that like Pixie Set or your website and stuff like that. All the variable costs like gas and like like buying albums and all of that, that's variable. So you can actually get by with a lot less money than you think this year. And also, obviously, keep in mind your personal expenses because like that's our livelihood, and keep that in mind when you're doing these calculations. So then in 2021, let's look at abundance here. You'll make an income off of all the remaining balances from your 2020 weddings that moved and your new 2021 weddings that you booked and the retainers for 2022. And I had to say it, hashtag ballin'. I mean, look at all the abundance we are able to have. So doesn't that make you feel more abundant and hopeful instead of feeling a sense of lack and fear? Okay, so let me paint picture number 2 for you. I know what you're thinking. Sarah, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear here, I'm a swearer, so I'm just gonna, how the F would I have a life with 45 weddings or be able to deliver an amazing experience to all my couples? And easily, boom, mic drop. Just wanna say that. It's outsourcing. And let me show you what I mean. So one of the biggest mistakes photographers make is capping the amount of weddings they can take in a year because they don't want to feel burnout. So the intention behind it, which is life balance, is really good. Of course, we all need that. It's all very important for us to have. But I'm here to show you that you can have life balance and shoot way more than you think you can. So most photographers think this way because they fear that no one can do things as well as they can. And that is simply a limiting belief. And a limiting belief is something that limits you from living your life to its fullest potential. So remember, just because you've done something one way for a while doesn't mean it's the only way or that it's aligned with what you truly want. And if it's possible for someone else, aka me, which I will show you actual numbers, it's possible for you too. So let me preface, I never know how to say this word, and say, if you only want to shoot 20 weddings a year so you can have more weekends available for the cottage, good on you. That's an amazing goal. But we are in a time of compromise right now. So that goal might need to shift to 2022 or 2023. And I'm not saying that it has to, because only you know your situation and you can make that call. But just saying, there's nothing wrong with shifting goals. It's all about going with the ebb and flow of life. 2021 may be the year you need to book much more than you want to and have less weekends to yourself. But do you know why that's not that bad at all? Number one, you get to spend so much more quality time with family and friends on weekends this year, guys. This year, it's something so big to celebrate. Number two, you get to do what you love and get paid for it. So many people would love to have the opportunity to do what we do. And number three, you still get to bring in income for you and your family. In 2021, you can focus on running things like a freaking boss and have a ton of bookings to bring in the income you need while avoiding burnout thanks to outsourcing. I'm not saying you have to take on more bookings. What I'm saying is that if the only reason, and make sure you're paying attention to this, if the only reason you're choosing not to book more in 2021 because you fear that you won't be able to handle it, then you're making a decision out of what you fear rather than what you actually want or need. And this came to me the other day when I was putting this presentation together. The best decisions are always made out of love for yourself. Remember that. So if you make decisions out of love, you're in alignment with you and your goals and your higher self. If you make decisions out of fear, you're limiting the life you can actually live. Okay, so now let me show you what's possible. So in September of 2018, again, if you're multitasking, come back to me because this is huge. In September 2018, I was able to take on 11 weddings in 1 month. And I balance while getting all my couples' photos to them just 3 to 4 weeks after their wedding. So here's a beautiful little pie chart that I can't wait to show you. Okay, so the whole pie chart as a whole, the whole circle, is the amount of hours I would have worked that month with all the weddings. This has to do with shooting and editing and all of that, right? The yellow on the left is how many hours I spent shooting and reviewing outsourced work, okay? So this includes shooting. So this was 30 hours per week. The blue on the right is the amount of time I saved on editing. That was 22 hours per week, guys, 22 hours. The orange is how much time I saved on culling because I outsourced my culling too. That was 8 hours per week. So guys, as you can see here, I cut my time in half in 1 month, and the month in my career that was supposed to be like the busiest month of my life was actually one of my easiest because that's when I started implementing outsourcing my culling. So I only worked 30 hours per week. That included shooting, okay, instead of 60. So just wanted to paint that picture for you. And now to show you the finances behind that. So my revenue in that month alone, September 2018, just from those weddings was $57,000. That's the blue, okay? And then my cost of editing was the red. Like, look how little that is. That's $2,900. My cost of culling was only $661. So as you can see here, I mean, my clients got their photos faster. They had an amazing experience. I got to have more freedom and have a life, and I got to shoot more and do what I love. It's like all just win, win, win all around. So I just want to show you that this is so possible for you. And let me show you another example, because it's all about real life examples, right? So here are the real numbers taken directly from my 2018 wedding season, so the season as a whole. So in 2018, my revenue from weddings alone was $177,000. The amount that I spent on editing, as you can see, so the red is my revenue and the blue is how much I spent on editing, which was $12,500. So my average wedding sale was $4,700. That meant that I only needed 2.5 weddings to cover the cost of editing for the entire year. Isn't that just mind-blowing? And now let's look at the time, right? Because it's the time that we want to save. So the circle on the right, the whole blue area, is the amount of time I saved the whole year with outsourcing editing alone, not even culling, not even having my virtual assistant work for me on the side too. I saved 259 hours. And I only worked 37 hours on those 37 weddings. And that was time spent on pre-edits, reviews, and small fixes. And of course, the 37 hours is only to do with editing. Okay, I want you guys to remember that. It's just editing. But just look at the possibility. Look at how much time we can save. I would have not been able to handle taking on 37 weddings and bringing in so much income by also editing them all without reaching intense burnout. So if you just are able to outsource and do this next year, guys, you'll be so fine financially and you won't have burnout. Okay, so let me share you a secret. It actually costs you more time and money not to outsource. So this is, again, I love visuals, a beautiful little graph. If you guys take a look at 2015, that's when I began to outsource. So all the years before that, I was doing everything myself. I was like, no one can do it as well as I can. It'll cost too much money to outsource. And as soon as I switched those beliefs and I realized that it is in my hands, my income skyrocketed and the amount of hours I worked went down drastically. So because I clearly see the positive shift in my life and business, I now consistently outsource things like editing, culling, blogging, slideshow creation, album design, and many more things. And these are all systems I created. So every single wedding, the same thing happens over and over again. And it's like clockwork. My couples have their photos ready 3 to 4 weeks after their wedding. And without having to spend so much time on all the tasks that I can train someone else on how to do, I now spend that time saved on attracting new clients and shooting more, what does that equal? Doing more of what I love, a better client experience because I'm able to be there for them through emails more, or I'm just able to be way more organized and on top of things, and more money. So secret number 2, someone can do it as well as you. So most photographers think like this: nobody can do it as well as I can. And I know how it feels because I used to be one of them. So I would get so frustrated when I tried outsourcing and things wouldn't come back as I wanted them to. I would blame the editor or my virtual assistant, and I would think that they didn't know what they were doing. But guess what? When you point the finger at someone, there are 3 pointing right back at you. And the problem is, most of us photographers either went to school for photography or are self-taught. So we never had the opportunity to learn how to communicate feedback in an effective and simple way to create remarkable results. So when I finally learned how to take responsibility for my results and communicate feedback effectively, everything started magically coming back to me exactly how I wanted it to. And thanks to that, I got to experience running my business with more ease, less stress, while experiencing an abundance of free time and a much higher income. So here's a little story. Jessica, before outsourcing, she thought the only way to get back more time is by taking less bookings. But if I take less bookings, I make less money. She felt so stuck. But then thanks to learning how to outsource, she no longer has to say no to 10 more couples, and she can take them all on. And she also said, I don't see anyone teaching this anywhere or people talking about freedom this way. And that sense of freedom I have been after for 10 years is finally coming into my life. This is it. She's been a wedding photographer for 10 years and she just figured out the way to outsource properly. And another story here. So Julian and Kelly used to trick themselves into believing this every single year. And I know you guys do the same thing. I used to do this too. This year will be different. We won't hit burnout and we will live a balanced life. This comes around every January, right? But when they were hitting burnout for 4 years straight, they realized they were fooling themselves year after year after year, and nothing ever changed. It got to the point where they were so overwhelmed that they both became really sick and even had to make hospital visits over the holidays while being still overwhelmed with a ton of what's it called, like backlog editing to do. So as Kelly mentioned, it was my body telling me enough is enough. And now they learned how to easily and effectively outsource, and they are able to operate their business with ease and even have quality time together now that they didn't have for the past 4 years. And at the end of it, guys, it's love. It's our relationships that matter most, right? So Julian is even a self-proclaimed control freak and found the systems to be very effective in getting the results they wanted in their business.
Sarah,
Yep.
I'm going to have to jump in. They're making me run a very tight
Oh, no
ship
problem.
here, and we've
Oh, I
hit
have
the
I have
20
1 minute left. My timer is 19 minutes. Can I do 1 minute or no? It's all good. Okay, here, I'll just do it. I'll just say, okay,
Yeah, if you
here.
want to close your last thought.
Yeah, just my last thought. Okay. There's a worksheet for you guys. They'll share the link with you. And don't forget to take care of yourselves. Love you guys. And connect with me here. And yeah, go to the saramonika.com/unite and you'll get a ton more support from me. I'm here for you guys. Love you. Thanks for tuning in.
Sarah, we do have a couple of questions that came in, though.
Yeah.
Also, it's really nice seeing your face through the virtual computer screens.
I miss you too.
I know, right? So the first question we have is, who do you outsource blogging to, and what do they do?
Yeah, great question. So I have my virtual assistant that I have hired. And so I've basically trained her how to blog because everything is trainable. And I've taught her how to do other things like slideshow creation and all of that. And the amazing thing is that I've figured out a way to ethically hire someone out that I'm only paying $5 Canadian per hour for. And she's in the Philippines and she gets to work from home. She has a beautiful daughter and husband. And it's basically the exchange rate of our dollar that makes the difference. So she's getting paid really well. And then I get to actually, outsource things instead of feeling like I can't because like $25 an hour isn't something that I could handle. You know what I mean? So that's what I do for outsourcing blogging.
Nice. Another question we have is, how do you handle back-to-back weddings? I get so physically drained after a wedding day. I worry if I book more, I wouldn't have the energy needed to do it.
I love that question. Okay, if you go to the worksheet, I'm going to ask you to go through and create personal goals and business goals. And one of the personal goals that gets me through this is staying active, staying strong. I love like lifting weights, doing yoga, going running. That is the biggest difference I can see. Like my body doesn't hurt the next day. So if you take care of yourself, start small this year when you have so much more time on your hands, start small, start working out 1 day a week, 2 days a week, get it to 3 or 4 next year, and you'll be so golden.
Nice. Another question, which I love this question because this is what we were talking about a few months ago. What's the first step in learning how to train your editor properly?
Oh gosh, this is like a huge, long, oh my gosh. What's the first step? The first step is learning how to communicate and put systems in place that will make it like really quick and easy. So the last thing you want when you outsource is for it to take up more of your time to keep training them or like giving feedback. So I actually teach this in my Outsourcing Made Easy course. So yeah, this is like 8 hours full of content on like step-by-step how to actually do this properly so that every time you give feedback, it takes you no less than 5 minutes. And then your editor, the more you give feedback, the sooner your editor will just be on the same page with you, and then it'll feel like clockwork.
Yeah, communication is really huge, I think, in all relationships, as I'm learning. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to seeing your face in person when all of this is over.
Thanks,
enjoy
Bryce.
the rest of your day.
You too. Love you guys. Bye.
So we got another giveaway announcement. Unscripted. Oh, Unscripted. I really like this app. It's cool. Yeah, you need to check it out. Unscripted app is giving away a lifetime access to the app. Am I able to sign up for that, or is that unethical? Anyways, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll get back with our next speaker. So keep tuning in and probably get some snacks and hydrate right now. Okay,